Welcome back, Anonymous Biker USA. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Today's topic, this very competitive mid-size ADV market that has come upon us. So now you see all the big players jumping in the mid-size ADV market. We have the release of the Honda Transalp 750, the Suzuki DE800, to go along with the already juggernaut Yamaha Tenere 700 and the Aprilia 660. Now you can throw your other mid-sized bikes in there, ones that have been around forever, like the KTM 890 or the KLR 650. And then you get some tweeners. They're actually a little bigger, like, you know, the Africa Twin and the Ducati Desert X. Probably not for this particular conversation. So let's keep it to the Honda Transalp 750, Suzuki DE800, KLR 650, KTM 890, Yamaha Tenere 700. Now, if Mr. GS48 or the 333 are watching, those guys have a lot of input. Leave that below in the comments. Mr. GS has the 1250 mothership. This is the do-everything bike. But there are times I saw that he had mentioned about a mid-size in the arsenal for certain reasons. And the 333 swears by his mule, or the Yamaha Tenere 700 in the Jersey Pine Barrens, because that bike truly is an awesome off-road vehicle and fairly good on the road from what I hear. So for point of discussion, let's take the use of this bike. Let's take the use of this bike for the, let's say, 60% on-road, 40% off-road. So with that 70, 30, 60, 40, with that parameter in mind, which of those bikes do you think would be best? Now, jury's out on the Transalp because we haven't had it yet, but based on Honda's engineering and the Africa Twin and the past Transalp, and from what we hear about it, it's got, you know, 4 or 5 different trim levels depending on if you want touring, off-road, adventure, certain things of that nature. But based on the specs and what's available, you could build it for that 60, 40, 70, 30 run to fit your needs perfectly. And with Honda, you know, you have the reliability, the engineering, the long service intervals. Basically, turn the key and go, right? Now, this is also taking into account you have the right tires. Whether you want to put panniers, a trunk, all that good stuff is up to you. But you also have to, don't forget, add, because most of them don't come with a beefy enough skid plate and crash protection. You know, they have fair crash protection, but it's not the best. So you are going to spend a little more money on those, although some of those packages may offer more beefy options in those two arenas. So keep that in mind as well. Suzuki DE800, from what I hear about it so far, but we don't know the price, but all the comments I read, people like it, but they think it's just going to be too heavy. Not quite sure, might have to agree. Has a huge fuel tank. It's probably a good 60, 40, 70, 30 option, but the weight seems to be a big detraction from that bike. Again, nobody has ridden it yet, so these are all speculations. Transalp 750. Some people are complaining that the tank's too small for fuel. Don't know. From what I hear, you could get 250 range on it, 55 miles a gallon. Again, depends on how you ride it. So, a lot to be seen from the bikes we don't know, but what we do know, the Tenere 700, proven off-road vehicle, great price in the $10,000 range. Doesn't come with all the latest and greatest TFT and touchscreen, but it does have all the bare bones to make it a really formidable off-road bike. I mean, the 333 loves his, and he beats the tar out of that thing and it just keeps on going like a mule should, right? Similar to the KLR, but when you get into the KLR, you're looking at that, you know, single cylinder engine, so you're going to lose a lot in terms of power and torque and those needs. But KLRs, I mean, let's face it, they go forever, they don't die, and they're super cheap, you know, $7,000 to $9,000 range. So I guess, you know, it ultimately depends on what your main focus is on buying the bike. If you want to get away cheap, have fun, and not worried about all that kind of stuff, you know, you snag that KLR. If you're looking for a little more horsepower and torque, you know, do you go with the Tenere 700? Or, you know, the KTM 890? Torque monster, super fun, but a lot of people claim the super unreliability of those. What do you guys think? And the Aprilia 660, I've watched a couple reviews. People think it's a home run bike for the price. Seems to be good. My only concern with that, because I looked it up, the closest Aprilia dealer to me is like 3 hours. So, you know, that's a major deterrent in purchasing that bike for service or whatever else. And I heard the Aprilia service intervals can get a little costly, so your cost of ownership of the bike, you know, I mean, things to consider, right? So right now I'm in the 2021 Goldwing talking about ADV bikes midsize. Why? Well, because this bike can't do what those things can, right? So you want multiple bikes in your garage for different purposes. I have my Scout for the midsize fun. You know, or you can do the argument, if you're paying, let's just say 10,000's the number on the Transalp and the Suzuki 800 DE. Let's just say 10,000's your magic number. You know, do you look at a used, maybe a BMW 800 or a Triumph Tiger or an Africa Twin, which you get a lot more bike? It is used, but you can get those in the 11 to 13 range. Is it worth doing that? And when you buy them used, somebody usually already decked it out with the bash plate, the crash bars, and a lot of other gadgets, maybe your panniers, your trunk. So they spent all the extra money and you're getting that included. Is that the right option? So I guess it'll, a lot will have to be determined when we get these Transalps on the road and the DE on the road and get all the big channels reviewing them, seeing what they think on-road, off-road. But early results that are in would probably lean me towards two ways. The Transalp 750 with the off-road package, or a used Africa Twin that has everything on it already. Of course, in the tricolor red, white, and blue classic. So chime in, ADV riders, Mr. GS333. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you look at two-wheeled rider Mario Orsini, he's a huge KTM guy. He got the 1190 amongst other things, and he's like, he knows how to fix everything. So for him, maintenance is zero issue, and he swears by that bike, right? So I mean, if you're doing all your own work, that's a game changer. I will not be doing my own work. I don't want to be bothered with it. I take it to said dealer, drop it off, and while they're wasting 6 hours doing whatever, I'll be out on another bike having fun, because time's too important for me to waste on that. If you like doing it, that's great. I just don't like doing it, so not my thing. Not even interested. So leave it in the comments below on this very competitive midsize ADV market. Thoughts, you know, and I know, look, we got a lot of things. Electronic adjustable suspension versus not. Your travel on the different bikes, your TFT, your electronics versus not. I mean, there's so many things to go down the list on all of them, but put all that stuff aside and just say straight up bike for bike. And I know they play a factor, but 60, 40, 70, 30, what would you lean towards? And that's presuming you can get a Yamaha Tenere, although you can't even find them. Let's just say they're on the dealer floor. So Tenere 700, Transalp 750, Suzuki DE 800, KLR 650, a KTM 890, and Aprilia 660 Touareg. What do we got? Sound off in the comments, wide open. All thoughts are welcome. Thanks for watching, and don't forget,
I am